most people out there believe that in order to be more disciplined, you have to force yourself to do stuff you don't really want to do, and you kind of have to suffer through it. But in my opinion, the most disciplined people out there are just really good at making the stuff they don't really want to do more enjoyable, or to find ways to make them fun, right? So in this video, I want to talk about how to achieve this, and I want to show you 10 ways in which you can achieve this as well. Now, while using one or two of these different techniques I'm going to introduce you to might be helpful, the best way probably is stacking several of them, so make sure that you check them all out. And by the way, not every single one of them will apply to your situation, but I'm sure that a couple at least will help you with doing so. So we are starting out, and I have my notes here, we're starting out with looking for the short-term benefits. Now, in many cases, discipline is about the long-term game, right? If you want to build muscle, you have to be really disciplined over a longer period of time. And the problem with that is that the outcome is so far away from you that it's kind of arbitrary in your head. You don't really can relate to it, and it can be frustrating because the stretch between where you are and where you want to be is so huge, right? And that can be really demotivating. So the best way to make it more enjoyable to go there, to go through all the suffering and forcing yourself to work out, is to find ways to see the short-term benefits over the long-term benefits. Because again, the long-term benefits are so far away that it won't really help you to motivate yourself, right? So one way that could be, when we are staying with the working out example, is that working out can make you feel really good in the short term, right? I always like to stress this to myself whenever I'm about to work out, and I'm like, no, I don't really want to. I'm like, yeah, I know it's not the most enjoyable thing to do right now, but in 20 minutes from now, you'll feel amazing, right? That's a way to find short-term benefits. Or when you want to make yourself meditate, for example, it's the same thing. Like meditation itself is difficult. It's not or it can be enjoyable, but it is not naturally the most enjoyable thing for most people. But then most people after a session of meditation will feel really relaxed, they feel really good about themselves, and stressing that will really help, right? And it's the same thing with so many different things. Just the feeling of having done the difficult task itself is a good feeling, and that's a short-term benefit as well. And there are other ways to really enjoy it. The best way would be to find ways to enjoy the process itself, but we'll come to that later on. Number 2 is doing it with a friend. I mean, whatever it is you're doing and that is difficult is probably more fun when you do it with a friend. And we can come back to the working out example, like going to the gym with a friend probably is more motivating. You can help each other out, you can spot each other, you can motivate each other, you can hold each other accountable, and of course you can talk about stuff, you can joke and just enjoy each other's company. So just going there with a friend will make it way more easy and way more fun to work out. While being alone in the gym can be, I don't know, kind of lonely in a way, and it will also be less entertaining for most people, I guess. And that's true for so many things. Obviously there are things you cannot do with a friend, especially when it's like work related, but so many things in life we really want to do or that are beneficial for us can be done with a friend, and I think it's probably a good idea to try to do so. Number 3 is rewarding yourself. Now, we talked about the short-term benefits, looking to the short term when you are doing stuff regularly, which is probably the case for most things you really want to be disciplined in, right? So working out, again, I'll come to that example again and again because it's so easy to understand. That's something you have to do on a regular basis for a long period of time, probably for the rest of your life. And when you make it about, again, the long-term benefits, it will be difficult to motivate yourself, as I said. And one thing that can reinforce doing it in the short term is just rewarding yourself for really having done it, treating yourself after having done so. Like, I don't know, maybe you can reward yourself with a nice bath afterwards, or just have a nice video game session. Like, you really earned that after having gone to the gym or having worked out, right? Or if you achieved something in school or at college, you can reward yourself for having studied, for example. And you have to be kind of cautious about how you do this, because obviously you don't want to spend too much money every time you worked out or you studied. But there can be ways to reward yourself, be it just a nice little time for yourself, maybe eating something nice, like being kind to yourself and being proud of what you've done at that day. Number 4, tracking your progress. I think this is a really substantial thing, and you can probably do it with almost everything. You see, the most discouraging thing about being disciplined in many areas of life is that sometimes it just seems like you are not getting anywhere, right? And that can be really demotivating. Like, you don't see any progress just because it isn't visible in many ways, right? Coming back to the working out example, you can go to the gym like for a week or two and you won't see that many changes in your body, and you will only see them like in months and years from now. But tracking your progress, be it with like how much stronger you got every time, or I don't know, if you're writing a novel, how many pages you wrote in the last couple of days, and showing that to yourself will just show you that what you're doing has an effect, and it will really bring you forward and keep you motivated, because you see, I'm doing something and it has an effect, and I'm not doing it for nothing, right? That's the reason why many video games have this bar, this leveling bar, showing you the progress, to keep you hooked in a way, to show you, whatever you're doing, it's moving you forward, right? So you can do this by like checking boxes, writing something, some boxes into your notebook, and checking boxes for every workout you did, or just, again, tracking the progress in whatever way you want. I think that's really helpful and really motivating in a way. And it's fun to see how you're moving forward, and to make that visible in a way. You can even like create your own leveling bar if you want to, like on paper maybe, or on your computer. There are apps for this, actually. Like, there are so many apps out there with which you can kind of track your progress or make it visible in a way. Which leads us to the next point, which is finding flow. You've probably heard about flow state, this mysterious state where you're like, the thing you're trying to do just feels effortless, it's just enjoyable, you're just in the moment, and it just happens automatically, it just feels really good. And you really want to achieve this state as much as possible, because it will make the thing you want to do way more enjoyable, right? And while it's not as easy to achieve this every single time. There is a way to do that, and that is finding the right spot between making the task you're trying to work on not too easy but not too difficult as well. That's probably the most important part here, because many people are bored at work, for example, because what they're doing is just too repetitive or not challenging enough, or they are kind of overwhelmed because the task at hand is kind of too difficult. Flow state happens somewhere in between, and you have to kind of experiment with this to find a way to achieve this. But I guess in the end you will, and especially when you try to balance these two variables out, right? Makes everything way more fun and enjoyable. Next point, enjoying the process. Now, whatever it is you're doing, you can always find ways to make it more enjoyable. And that could be like when you are at work and you're working at a desk, finding ways to make yourself more comfortable, maybe. Drinking some tea, maybe, or listening to some music. All these little things that will kind of help you to feel more relaxed doing so, right? Or you can even reframe the thing you're working at, find ways to think differently about it. Like many bodybuilders, for example, talk about how they learn to reframe the burning feeling in their muscles in a way that they really kind of learn to enjoy it. They're like, yeah, I know it hurts, but it feels kind of great because I know the feeling of my burning muscles tells me that I'm making progress and that these muscles are going to grow, right? So you can find ways to achieve something and to make it more fun in a way. And I don't want to say double, but this kind of ties to what I just said, to enjoying the process, the next point, which is finding a different angle at the thing you're trying to do. For example, coming back to the sports and working out thing, there are so many different ways you can work out. For example, you can do body weight exercises, you can go to the gym, there's yoga and Pilates, and you can go for a run, you can play sports games, right? There's so many different ways you can approach this. And if you have difficulty, for example, to go to the gym because of various reasons and it just isn't fun for you, maybe a nice little home workout with a video guide on YouTube, for example, is more fun to you and more enjoyable and will make it easier for you to really work out. For example, I don't like to go to the gym. I don't feel comfortable there. It also is kind of far away from where I live, the next gym, so I won't even go there regularly. So I prefer working out from home, which is the better way, a better angle for me at the same thing with a similar or same outcome, so to speak. What else? The next thing is something that has come up over those last couple of years a whole lot, and that is to dopamine detox, which is basically about getting rid of the overstimulating digital media in your day, because these things are rewarding you and stimulating you in a way that everything else, especially the more difficult things in life, the things you really have to discipline yourself to do so, seem kind of dull, more difficult, more unattractive in a way. Just because when you're scrolling social media, for example, you are bombarded with so much information and stimulation. It makes you feel really good and rewarded in a sense. And all you have to do for that is move your thumb, which is kind of nothing, right? You don't have to put in any effort, and you will be rewarded in kind of the best way for your brain. Your brain likes this. Your brain feels amazing when scrolling. And when the alternative is to go to the gym, for example, or to write your book or whatever, these things are difficult. These things are uncomfortable. And you'll always choose to scroll, right? Or to watch a TV show, to play a video game. These things are so rewarding, so much more easy, and feel that way better than these things. So it's really difficult to make yourself do this difficult stuff when you are basically having the alternative of doing nothing, right? So when you detox yourself from that, if you ban these things from your life, you'll see that the more difficult stuff in your life will get more easy, more enjoyable over time again, because you're not distracted by this alternative, right? And I have other videos talking about this in depth. I don't really want to go into that too much now, because the video will be long enough by itself. So yeah, just watch a couple of videos on dopamine detox on YouTube. It will be really helpful. One of the most important things that helps me the most to enjoy the more difficult things in life. The next thing will not be for everybody, but especially when you're a competitive kind of person, it will help. But just creating some competition in your life, and in your work, or in whatever it is you want to achieve. Making a little competition out of it can be really helpful with this. Because if you like to compete, if you like to kind of win over other people, just creating a competition with a friend or a co-worker with whatever it is you want to achieve will make it kind of more enjoyable, and will kind of motivate you to go on working on it, right? And this can be kind of imaginary, like you can imagine being in a competition with someone who doesn't even know it. But in society, we are creating these kind of competitions anyway, right? So I don't know, if you have a friend who's working out as well, and you kind of want to challenge yourself to kind of outwork him and get the better looking body, or to get stronger than him, you can kind of compete with him in your mind, or you can go to him and like, I'm going to be stronger than you. And that will be kind of helpful with this, especially when you like to compete. Again, some people don't like this at all. I find it kind of fun, right? And this can be true in so many other ways. Like, you can try to outwork your co-workers in a way, or you can just compete with yourself, just to challenge yourself to get better every single day, right? Which leads us to the next one, and this probably could be the last one. I'm not sure. I had this one. Yeah, which leads us to the last point, which is finding joy in the fact that you are outworking people. And this is kind of the same thing as competition, but a little bit differently. Just because what I want to stress here is that whenever you are doing something that is difficult, and whenever you are disciplining yourself, you're automatically outworking the people who will not be able to do so. And there are many people out there who might try to do the same thing, and there are people out there who don't even try. You're already working them out if you're doing just a little bit, right? But finding joy in the knowing that when you are disciplining yourself right now, you will probably outwork other people who will have the same difficulties as you and just won't do it. Every time you are doing so, you will differentiate yourself from the pack. We are living in a society of a lot of really undisciplined people, and casting this vote for yourself every single day to be more disciplined will set you apart. Is that how you say it? Will differentiate yourself from them, right? And that can be a really joyful thought, right? It's again, it's kind of like with the competitiveness before, but with a little different. I'm sorry, my English is kind of stuck today, but with a different angle at it. Yeah, I see the video's long enough now. I've talked enough. I hope this is kind of helpful. Make sure to stack these different ways to enjoy being disciplined, right? You could like create some competition and find flow state and enjoy the process at the same time, right? Which will kind of help you to enjoy it even more. Also, don't take all this too seriously, obviously, because being too serious about being disciplined can be hurtful. So try to have fun with all of this. You'll find different ways to do so and to be so, to do so. And I hope this kind of helped with the whole matter. Anyway, I hope you have a very nice day. And if this helped, I'd be glad if you subscribe to the channel. And I will see you very soon. Goodbye.